What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ICNVDriversedition. And today I'm going to dive into another quick topic. The ZR1 continues to make headlines, but this time it's in an interesting way. And if you saw the thumbnail, that's right. GM is punishing, or penalizing, should I say, the ZR1 buyers. What does this mean? Well, we all expected there to be some form of, you got to retain ownership for a certain amount of time with the ZR1, and we were kind of hoping it would stay the same as the 6 months as the Z06 and E-Ray, but GM has decided to extend it to 1 year, and that ends up penalizing the buyers. You say how? Let's talk about it. Okay, before we dive into this, let's get the formalities out the way. My name is Sho. This is ICNVDriversedition. We are an interactive community, which means if you hit me up on any one of my social media platforms, I'll do my best to respond. And if the topic you bring up is interesting enough, I will shoot a video on it. But this community is also built for those car enthusiasts that love to drive cars to make you turn your head, that aren't your everyday people movers. So if you're one of those people, go ahead, lock in, hit that subscribe button, and hang out with your boy. But now let's get back on topic. So just like before, GM has issued for the ZR1 restrictions in ownership, which is designed to prevent flippers. And I say that again, it's designed to prevent flippers. So what they've actually done with the Z06 and the C8 E-Ray, they turned around and issued a 6-month warranty clause stating if you sell your vehicle before 6 months is up, it will void the factory warranty on the vehicle. And this was supposed to prevent flippers. But like I explained in multiple videos before the C8 Z06 ever hit the streets, this will not prevent flippers for getting their hands on a car. And why did I say that back then? Because the amount of money they are destined to make will outweigh the penalties that GM can actually put on them. And I mean that because GM goes out and says they can't order a sold order vehicle. And people say, well, what does that actually mean? And I keep telling you, at the end of the day, it's not the flippers that are the problem, it's the dealers. And the reason why I say it's the dealers, because me attaching my name to a pre-sold inventory item only matters if the dealership sends in the order request. I'll say that again. It only matters if the dealership sends in the order request. So with the C8 Z06, people bought the car and sold it anyway. They made $30,000, $40,000 profit from selling the car. Now, if you flip that over, if you go out and agree to pay 20, 30 grand over MSRP for another car, and you don't sell it to a GM store, you sell it to, say, a luxury import car dealer who now turns around and slaps a 50 to 60 grand markup on a car, they do not care that the warranty is voided. And the backside of the story is, if I go out to a dealer, because many dealers, and people are starting to realize this after I said it before, many dealers weren't taking order requests. They were ordering the C8 Z06 on their own to their own specs and selling them 15, 20 grand over MSRP. The flippers would buy the car from the dealer because they reach out and agree to pay the over MSRP payment, which 90% of the Corvette community refused to pay. They still got the car early, turned around and took it to a luxury car dealer, and then made 10 grand off the transaction. And that's what people were missing. And the same thing is going to happen with the C8 ZR1, especially if you can get your hands on a car or allocation or a sold order for MSRP to 30 grand over MSRP. And yes, I made a video earlier, I can't remember if I released it or not, but I did go out and shoot some video content where dealers in my local area are talking about 25 to 35 to 50 grand over MSRP for a C8 ZR1. Why is that significant? Because there are dealers in other places across the country talking about 75,000, 85,000, 105,000 over MSRP for a C8 ZR1. So if you can get one for what is considered a bargain at 25,000 over MSRP, sell it to another location that's willing to mark it up 100 grand over MSRP, and let's just say you can still make 30,000 in the process, it's still a win-win. So the actual customer, or should I say the flipper, is not getting penalized. But in the grand scheme of all of this, and it sounds crazy, but when you look at it, it's a way to change your financial situation. I am not encouraging it, but I'm just telling you how it plays out. And in the grand scheme of all of this, who's actually penalized? The C8 ZR1 buyer that truly just wants to own the car. Let's get more in depth with it. Okay, here's the official statement. GM releases a letter that Corvette blogger posted and shared with everyone, and here's what it says. Congratulations on your decision to purchase or lease a high-powered variant of the 2025 Corvette. You are part of an exclusive group of customers with the opportunity to acquire one of the most powerful sports cars in the history of Chevrolet. Given the limited quantity of these special variants, sales are reserved for true Corvette enthusiasts. Sales are reserved for true Chevy enthusiasts. We are proud to have you as a customer and want all of our loyal customers to receive the superior Chevrolet experience provided by their preferred dealer, avoiding speculators who may try and resell these Corvette variants on the secondary market. We encourage you to cherish this special vehicle and to maintain possession for the applicable time frames below, depending upon your model. The Corvette E-Ray and Z06 6-month retention policy. The Corvette ZR1 a 1-year retention policy. The dates illustrated above start the day you take delivery of the vehicle. If you decide to resell or otherwise transfer ownership of the 2025 Corvette E-Ray, Z06, or ZR1 within the first 6 to 12 months after delivery, you will be ineligible to place vehicle reservations or place a sole order with a dealer for certain high-demand models, as identified by GM, including but not limited to future Chevy Corvette models. The bumper-to-bumper powertrain, sheet metal, electric vehicle propulsion for the E-Ray only, tire and accessory coverages under GM's new vehicle limited warranty will be voided. But this does not include the EV battery warranty coverage, which will not be voided for the E-Ray. By signing this letter below, you acknowledge and understand these terms. Now, I know before, I've heard this from several of you people I've met in the community. I've even had it in comments below saying I never received this letter, which was shared before when you bought a C8 Z06 or E-Ray, but many say I was never given the letter. Therefore, I'm not held or bound by the same restrictions. And I want to clarify that for you. That is actually not true. And the reason why is because on the actual Chevrolet website, it also discloses the same information about the warranty voiding policy, which is public for everyone to see. So even though they had you sign the letter at dealerships, it's more so to make sure that you were aware and you didn't go into this blind, which in some states, and I say that again, which in some states require that. So if you did not get presented with it, that just means that the place you bought the car from, that state does not make it mandatory that you have to identify restrictions like this in writing to the customer. That's why many of you didn't actually see it, but General Motors does want this letter actually issued and signed. This information is made public and is known, and therefore, in most locations, once they void the warranty on your car for selling it early, the legal process to actually fight it is not going to be worth your time. And for the states where it has to already be identified up front when you signed it, because GM has come out up front and informed everyone about this in both situations before the car was ever produced or hit the streets, the information was disclosed. Now, like I stated before, certain states may require the customer acknowledgement of this in order to uphold it, but that's a double-edged sword as well. Because if you purchase it from a state where this letter was mandated that you sign, and you did sign it, just because you go to a state where it's not mandated for you to sign the letter, you acknowledged you knew about it. And at the same point in time, just like with any other purchase across the country, if you purchase a car out of your state and it's not a mandate for that state to disclose this information to you by having you sign this letter, does not mean that this policy is in effect because you live in a state that says you had to be disclosed the information. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, many people think there's a loophole, but in the long run, the loophole really doesn't exist. You were made aware, and you were made aware before the vehicle was actually sold. And the funny part about it, it goes into the same category as just because you didn't know it when you bought the car doesn't mean it's not applicable. And I say that because some people go out and buy cars and say, well, I expected because it was a new car, it had a warranty. Not all new cars come with 3-year warranties. Some come with 2-year, some come with 4-year, some come with 5, brand new from the factory. And just because you didn't know how long the warranty actually was does not mean the warranty is now voided or not enforced upon those timelines. The best example I can give you is Volkswagen switched their policy from a 5-year, 60,000 mile bumper to bumper warranty back in 2018, 2019. If you had the car the model year before, you got a 5-year, 60,000 mile warranty. The next year you bought the car, it came with a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty. There was no letter issued stating this, although for prior years forward, Volkswagen always offered a 5-year, 60,000 mile warranty, and many customers thought they were getting the same thing. Just because something changes and you aren't made physically aware during your purchase does not mean you shouldn't have done your research. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driver Edition community. If you hit me up in the comments below or on any one of my social media platforms, I will do my best to respond back. And if the topic is interesting enough, I will make a video on it. So reach out, let's chat. But let's get back to this video. So why do I say the ZR1 buyer is being penalized? I'll tell you why. The real culprit in the situation is not the flippers. It's the actual dealers. And the problem I have with this information being released by GM is that they are not holding the dealerships accountable. If you're going to target flippers from flipping a car, target the dealerships from being able to sell it for crazy amounts of money over MSRP. I've had this conversation with you people before too. Back in the day when GM came out and said, we're going to target dealers, and I told you GM can't stop them, and you thought I was lying, they haven't stopped them yet, and it's only getting worse. The over MSRP pricing is getting outrageous, and customers are still complaining. Who is it hurting? As you say, the brand, but no, it's not hurting the brand, because honestly, most people aren't going to buy this car anyway because they can't afford it. That's just the realness of the situation. But the people that can afford it are going to buy it because it's hard to get and the cost is outrageous because everyone can't afford it. And I think GM understands this. So somewhere in a backdoor closed meeting, this conversation is happening, and this is the conversation that's taking place. That are you really building a car that everyone can attain anyway? Because if you are, you wouldn't set the pricing so high. Now, I had to think about that for a second when that bit of information was shared from an undisclosed source. And you're right. But this is my problem with it. We've seen the C8 Z06 come out and it sold for $100,000 over MSRP. and a Chevy store sold it for 100 grand over MSRP. But within a matter of 60 days, that 100 grand over MSRP swung to, let's just say, 45,000 over MSRP. And then it slowly went down to MSRP in a rash for 6 months. So now what you're sitting there saying is the person that got stuck into a bad deal by the General Motors franchise tag stores cannot unload this vehicle for a fair dollar amount because they are stuck with a car that a dealer shoved them into over MSRP payment, and they can't get maximum value for it because when they go to move it, they're being hit with the warranty is not going to carry over, so it's not as worth as much as you would think. So you're trying to force them to stay into a car for a year. And that's why I say the C8 ZR1 buyers are being penalized. Because if you get your hands on a car for an over MSRP payment from a General Motors store, you should be allowed to get out of the car if something happens dramatically to the marketplace, in your life, or whatever. Now, I get it. We're talking about first world problems, and many of you don't care because you say you get what you get and you deserve what you get when you do or make bad decisions. And a lot of people, a lot of Corvette owners, a lot of people in the Corvette community believe if you buy a car over MSRP, you are making a bad decision and you deserve whatever comes from it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think that GM has truly set out to penalize the C8 ZR1 buyers? Do you really think what they're trying to do is preventing flippers? I'm here to tell you firsthand, it's not happening. And the reason why it's not happening is because the dealers are greedy and GM hasn't addressed the real problem. If you got a solution for me, let me hear it in the comments below. Tell me how you will stop the flippers, how you would address it so the dealers don't pay over MSRP and the flippers don't flip the cars. Because at the end of the day, that's really the situation we're faced. You can't control people, and people are going to do what they want to do regardless. And like I stated before, the factory may void the warranty, but there's always an aftermarket warranty company that's willing to charge you a premium dollar to cover it. And I've seen that before with the C8 Z06. The factory warranty was voided, and what is considered an outrageous warranty cost for a Corvette, you can pick up an aftermarket warranty that will warranty the car for about $7,000 to $10,000. Most of them are about $8 grand. And that is a lot for a Corvette warranty for 4 years. But many people would rather pay the $8 grand than take the risk of going at it alone. Anyway, ICNV Driver Edition. Go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Join the ICNV Driver Edition community. Like I stated before, we are an interactive community, which means if you hit me up on any one of my social media platforms or in the comments below, I will do my best to respond. And if the topic you bring up is interesting enough, just like this one, I will make a video on it. But we're also a community of car enthusiasts that love to drive cars that make you turn your head, that aren't your everyday people movers. So if you're somebody that vibe fits with you, go ahead, lock into the channel, subscribe to the channel, and hang out with your boy and watch the content that comes your way. But don't forget, we were all made in his image and given dominion over the world, which means we weren't just meant to be. So chase your dreams, build your visions, never ever give up, and embrace your own identity. It is okay to be unique. He's not done with you, and he's definitely not done with me. Our story isn't over, and you're more than able to accomplish your dreams. So remember to stay humble, stay focused, and stay blessed. And I'll see you in these streets. Peace.